Sifka is a player that people are paying attention to as well. And I think they might even actually be in games. So let's see what's happening. Once again, Gar, thanks for stopping by, but we're going to check back in with our guys.
Thank you, Frodan. So we'll be jumping into the game as soon as possible. We didn't see Stancifka for a long time as well. He's always eating. You can see the bananas.
Yeah, not a surprise.
Not a surprise at all. He's always eating when he plays. This is like a trademark for him.
Pretty much the real life King Mukla.
Haha.
always with the bananas. But yeah, like Stancifka is one of the really like cool players to watch, as we mentioned earlier before we cast the first game. Just because he has a very like strong opinions on what cards are good and not, and they often differ against the norm, I would say. And he just like builds what you would deem a standard deck, and then just puts his own spin on it with some really like out there card choices. Very similar to Gara actually, to a certain extent. And yes, Sifka's been performing pretty well overall, but just done nothing like huge recently. Whereas there was a stint a while back where he was getting like top finishes almost every month.
Yeah. Well, he knocked out me in the semi-final of a DreamHack as well. I'm kind of still pissed about it.
So you want Gara, not Gara, you want Stancifka to lose here?
Definitely, man. The feeling is still inside me. So I'm just joking here. I would just like to see some innovation in the decks and in those games to be like interesting, just like the match that we just currently had.
And there we go. We see Swissking has his mage left, and Stancifka has his rogue and druid with his warlock dropping a game, and Swissking's other two decks, his warrior and warlock, also dropping matches here. So looks like Freeze Mage versus rogue. Yeah, one of the older matchups, I would say.
This might be very hard for Sifka to win, because playing against a Freeze Mage with a rogue kind of entitles you to just go all in at some point of the game, because you need to finish the game as soon as possible, right? You most likely have no option of going through double ice blocks and not dying in the process.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
There's so much burn.
The time it takes, because the time it takes Rogue normally to wind up fast, like all the way to being able to just combo someone down. Freeze Mage does pretty well with that amount of time as well, and can just set up the secrets, set up the ice blocks, freeze their opponent, slow them down, and then just Alex tries a combo, because a lot of rogues are probably running like one Earthen Ring, maybe two, sometimes even none. So like, there's not as if the rogue can even like re-heal up past it. Once the Alex Straza comes down, the game can just end.
Yep, exactly. And now he's like keeping up the pace of the game. I mean, the rogue player, because he's just playing on curve. He will have a turn 4 play as well, while Swissking needs to deal with that 6/6. I was kind of thinking maybe he should have sacrificed the Frostbolt and the Icelands on turn 3 just to deal with it, as soon as possible, because he's lacking the Fireball. Oh, he has it now, but still, additional 9 damage is coming his way.
Yeah, I think the idea with the cycle here is, he can deal with a 6/6, but there's still the SI on the board, and then there's going to be probably a turn 4 play. So I think, it's just going to Swissking's just got to try and cycle into Doomsayer, because he already has the Frost Nova, and that maybe that was the plan for this turn. If you drew Doomsayer, Frost Nova Doomsayer, hope there's no sap. Fantastic, board's clear. But we can see that Sifka actually just has the sap in hand for any of the, any potential Doomsayer play anyway. And this is a lot of damage coming out from Sifka.
Iceland's on the use on the Edwin one cleave is something that will tell Sifka, okay, there's a Blizzard next turn. So how does he play around the Blizzard now? Probably just go for the hero power, maybe shift phase. Maybe not, because it's the prep with the Gazetan, but he will get the coin as well, right?
Yeah, I like the Thanos play at least, because you kind of just want the cycle now with the Gadgetzan and just more minions on the board to benefit from that. The Blizzard is going to come down, leave a couple of minions alive, but he's going to cycle 1 card for Sifka, and he does get Conceal as well.
Well, it's perfect turn for Flame Strike, but I feel that you go for it. And I like how Stancifka was playing from turn 1. I mean, from turn 2, actually. He was very aggressive. He's actually very aggressive every single turn. And Gazetan Prep Conceal seems like the most aggressive play this turn, right? Because you first of all, you save your agent from dying from a ping. You save your Tomb Pillager from dying to a Frostbolt. And, well, you died to Flame Strike and lose the game. But otherwise, you're probably not going to win the game anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, if Flame Strike comes out, depending on what you draw, of course, the game might just end there and then, and the Rogue just can't get enough to come back into the game. But, you know, if he doesn't have it, you're in such a good position.
Yes,
and also,
exactly.
you know, you sat there thinking, do I play Gadget Design and set up a huge turn, or do I do nothing?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, doing nothing versus Freeze Mage, you just give them an additional turn, and all
It's what
Freeze
they
Mage
want.
wants
Yeah.
are additional turns to set up the combo pieces to end
Exactly,
the game.
exactly.
So, you know, I like the play. It's there's is an element of risk to it, but it's super high reward as the Gadget Design did live,
So
and now Sifka
How
can.
much damage does he have?
Yeah.
That's 10 damage from hand, 14, 19, 22. So if that's a ice block, I'm sure he would like to go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's one turn before Alexstrasza, so he has a way of just killing his opponent next turn, right? But if
And also,
if
it still draws him a decent, you know, a couple of cards at least.
yeah, but in case it's an ice barrier, then it might change his mind and not go with the Leroy this turn. He checks first. There's an ice barrier, so now he knows. I'm not sure if he will play the Leroy. I don't think so, because he will might just favor the.
Yeah, I think you favor the
yeah,
dagger because
the
you get the both hits of deadly over 2 turns, right?
exactly. So
And it
you-
draws a card as a nice.
Oh,
block.
that's another conceal. That's perfect.
And let's be honest, if he didn't have Flame Strike last turn, he's probably not got it this
Because
turn
most
either.
of those freeze mages are playing just only one.
Yeah. This is kind of crazy. This game's going exactly as you want it to go as the rogue player here.
Yep, that's exactly what you
There's
need to
nothing-
do.
there's-
This is the perfect example of how do you want to win as a rogue player in an unfavored matchup.
Yeah.
This is the perfect example.
And look at this. There has to be a loot holder ping because there's nothing he can do. He can't target any of the minions because
Frost Nova?
they're all. Oh, he gets ice block. So
Still not perfect solution.
no, but he isn't just dead, which is,
Yeah.
is better than losing that turn. But in all honesty, unless the next draw is absolutely insane, there's still no real way out here
What
for
is an
Swissking.
absolutely insane draw? Because I don't see one. It had to be a Frost Nova into a heal, like a heal bot.
Yeah, it would have
But
to be
there's
like.
no heal button,
would it
it's
have to be
format.
like Arcane Intellect, Ice Barrier Frost Nova, or Ice
He
Block
used
Frost
2
Nova?
ice barriers.
So it would have to be Ice Block Frost Nova. But then you.
But then he dies
can you
to-
Ice Lance as well? Okay, an insane turn would
But
be too
still,
insane
he
to
doesn't
happen.
have anything
Yeah.
after that turn. It's just prolonging the agony.
Yeah.
For Stancifka, I guess he doesn't need to do anything here. He can just go for cycles, right? He can just use the prep and just get a cycle. and
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
it. If he
could just-
values that draw
You could just
so
play
much,
the Tomb Pillager, bank the coin next turn. You know, if an AoE comes down and clears the board, like, why not? You have so much damage in hand anyway. And look at Swissking. He's got all the burn he could ever want, not the mana to play it
Yeah.
all, though.
Important information, both of those players are on 6-1. They're not playing for an elimination match here.
No.
Even if you lose this game, you'll still have chance to advance to the top 16.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, Sifka, shake hands. That's going to be game, and we see the sheer speed that Sifka approached that match there. The Van Cleef so early as a 6-6 just demolished the first ice barrier with the SI, and then just not having a great way to deal with the board itself. So that was a super quick. We just dipped into that series overall, but really swift game there from Sifka, and just pretty much running over Swissking's freeze mage.
Yeah, I would say that Stancifka, first of all, executed the plan perfectly, and he also took the road that is the best way to win against a freeze mage with the rogue player, as a rogue player. But on the other hand, Swissking, I feel that he might have been more safe. He could have been less greedy with the Arcane Intellect, with the Ice Barrier.
Yeah.
He could have gone just for the Frostball Ice Lance, killed the Edwin Van Cleef on turn 3 when he went for the Ice Barrier instead, and mitigate 18 damage in the process, right?
You need to do that. I mean, Rogue's only win condition in this matchup is to be
exactly
extremely
that, right?
aggressive.
Yeah.
Edwin Van Cleef is one of them, or a Cold Blood on something that just doesn't get checked. And then, or even Violet Teacher building up stuff. And those are the only 3 ways you can get super aggressive early as Rogue. Because there's a very common philosophy, of how like Rogue just can't win this matchup. It's not necessarily like the matchup's really bad. It's just they run out of win conditions against Freeze Mage. So it's extremely impressive that Sifka was able to win this matchup. But I do feel like it contributed by Swissking being a little bit too greedy, like you said. Sifka is joining us, by the way. Job well done. A really hard matchup. I think that's one of the harder matchups in the current meta right now. Rogue versus Freeze Mage. And you're actually bringing Rogue quite often these days. Why is that?
Like, I'm working with JJ like all the time, and like we just believe it's like it's by far the most difficult deck in the current meta, and I think like no one in the world can play it properly. Like we are throwing like every fifth game, like let's say with the Rogue, but like most of the lose we got with the Rogue, it's because we misplay. But the deck is so difficult, so I understand like why not that many people are bringing it, because we are investing so much energy like into the deck, and like sometimes like you have these small windows like almost every time, but it's so difficult like to find them. Like
yeah, and then it's also round by round. You're playing so many games, series back and forth. So.
But I feel like, let's say in Conquest, it's very risky deck, but in Last Hero Standing, like if you are on the point with the Rogue, it's like one of the most...
Well, it can sweep your opponent.
Yeah,
right?
like
that's what you want to do.
In Last Hero Standing, like you can free like a lot of lineups with the Rogue. Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty interesting, and it's cool that you're practicing so much with JJ too. And Sifka, you're right now you're what 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean you're guaranteed to go through if you lose even the next
I
round?
think so, yeah.
Most
awesome.
likely, right?
Most likely, like someone with 7-2 not gonna make it, like sort of the people, but my tiebreakers should be good. So unless something crazy happen, I should be in it.
But still, having an 8-1 is better than a
Like obvious, like
For the go-to points, sure.
Oh yeah.
Sifka, I know a lot of people always been talking up Swiss, and I know this probably feels a little bit more natural to you playing in these kinds of formats, historically being from Magic the Gathering.
yeah, or also from chess, let's say.
Yeah, also from chess too. So I mean, how have you been enjoying DreamHack's format specifically?
Yeah, like the previous week I was in China. I was considering should I come here because like I was afraid I would be like super tired and this stuff. But I really like the DreamHacks at the moment. Like it's so good that you can compete like with the wider field, because like the normal players don't have that many opportunities to face like the pros, and it's so good like to compare your skills with the wider range. And it's so great, like it's so many people are cheering here, and it's for me it was like basically holidays here because I wasn't
Spain, right?
because it's very nice weather here, and the event is super cool, and it's actually super well organized. Like I was surprised because like in Spain like most of the time like people are like to relax or whatever. But this year it's perfect, like, and it's actually surprising because like it's probably the biggest DreamHack by terms of the players attending.
Yes, it is.
And there are no problems at all. Like there's perfect internet, like everything is working perfectly. So I'm really impressed, to be honest, by organization.
Yeah, the only thing I think was the EU server stability issues. But I mean, that wasn't really on DreamHack. They did an excellent job so far. Well, congratulations, Stan. I guess you're pretty much through to the next round. What do you think about the talent or the pool of players that are currently through? Some of the other guys too. Like, what do you think about Swissking or Deathlore or DeVito? Like, do you know some of these guys?
Yeah, like Swissking is also from Czech Republic, so I know him pretty a lot. Like because like some players are working really hard, but it's so difficult these days to make the breakthrough or like to become known. And so you're gonna see a lot of good players here in the top 16, which maybe not that known, but they are like really on the point because they are working so hard and they really trying like to become the pros as we are. So yeah, you're gonna see like a lot of great plays here.
Yeah, well deserved. Well deserved.
Yep.
I'm in questions. Do you guys have anything else before we send Sifka off?
I guess you should prepare for your next round.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
very important, right?
Okay, yeah, it's super important.
I mean, one thing that I would like to say is just, what do you think in the last game, right, in the Rogue versus Mage, your opponent had an option to play Frostbolt and Icelands to your Advent Van Clef instead of the Ice Barrier. Would you go for it, for the Frostbolt and Icelands?
Like, it really depends on the whole structure of his hand. Like, let's say if he has Alex Straz in it, and then he probably like should go like save this and like try to survive to this. But like it really depends like overall, because like if he spends Frostbolt and Icelands, it's also a lot of resources. So like I think with the Rogue, people just like don't think that the matchup is as bad as it like most of the people think. I think it's like 60-40 for the freeze or something like this. But yeah, like sometimes, because I feel with the Rogue, you really need to play like super risky, like to find, like let's say play 6/6 Advent, it could be like looking not that appealing or whatever, because you can, in your head, he can just Arcane Intelligence then Fireball, but what if he doesn't have it, and if he has to spend like the Frostbolt and Icelands, then yeah, like probably he should go for it, like from the game as I saw it, because he didn't have like enough freeze or whatever, but yeah. Now like you can see like, can call it like misplay because how it happened like this way, but it could also be the other way, that he would be lacking the burn and like then Yeah, like it's very easy to be like smart after a game, but it's very difficult
I'm
to
great
be.
at that. That's actually my greatest strength. I write that in my resume.
Yeah.
They ask me at job interviews, what's your greatest strength? And I'm like, well, spotting a misplay an hour after the Hearthstone game finished. All right, thank you so much, Sifka. We're going to let you go. In the meantime, guys, we're going to go to a break and get ready for our final round of Swiss, determine who's going in and who's going out. So after that, we'll have top 16 brackets, and we'll have also a fun little side event show match to show you guys. Basically, here at DreamHack, if you come here and compete, we'll explain a little bit more about it, but we're doing a side tournament for a couple $1,000s as well. So some players who get knocked out early can also earn some bucks and also have things to do. We'll be showing that later on the stream as well. For now, let's take a break, and when we come back, more action.